It is April 2022, and we are talking today about the importance of food and energy independence. Now, I'm going to tell you, we plan out our content schedule about 3 months ahead of time. We do it quarterly. And is this ever relevant at this particular time? World news has all of us on the edge of our seats, kind of watching and wondering what's next. And we're hearing all kinds of reports on what we need to be doing to kind of secure the next few months and year as we watch and see how things develop. And I will tell you one thing. I am extremely thankful that I grew up in Wyoming and that I have an understanding of good old common sense and an understanding of how things happen and where things come from. Most of us here in Wyoming are pretty hardy folks, and we understand that food is raised on the prairie or grown in a garden, and it has to get from there to market to table. We are in a really good spot, I think, to not only understand that, but to act on it. If you look around Wyoming right now, you see a lot more local food markets popping up, and some of the local growers and producers, bring their goods in and sell to consumers in their own neighborhood and community. That is in part because Wyoming has some really good cottage food laws. We are able to produce and sell within our state lines, and I think that is fabulous. It's necessary, and right now I'm glad that infrastructure has already started developing within our state. We know that energy is important too. It is great to, consider electric vehicles and all of that, but energy has to come from somewhere before it can go through a cable and into any kind of battery or light fixture. And so we as energy producers in the state have had a great understanding of what it takes to produce the energy that drives modern life. So I want you to look around your community, see if there are the markets, if there is the ability to make sure your community, your families are safe as far as being able to be independent, to have food, shelter, etc. for your family, your community. We're all kind of taking stock of that right now. But then pray for your neighbors. Make sure that your community as a whole, has some safety and security in these troubled times. I want to share a couple of quotes before we end today. George Washington said, "I had rather be on my farm than the emperor of the world." Now, I had a chance a few years ago to visit Mount Vernon and walk through George Washington's home. And it was interesting because that home was really a community unto itself. The kitchen area and whatnot was separate. There was a big, slaughter area and food preparation area. Very different lifestyle than what most of us live today. But you can see how the produce and the animals of that farm supported all of the individuals living there. And things were just structured to accommodate the production of what was needed for everyone on that estate to survive. And I wonder if we need to go back to some of that wisdom. Hey everybody, we are jumping in and editing a video here, and we're just adding a little snippet to explain a couple of things. First of all, in our discussion about Mount Vernon and supply chain and producing in a community, we want to state very clearly we are not advocating slavery. We do know that in that era, that was part of what was going on in that particular place. But what we want you to do is think about how communities in various places, including Wyoming and in the Midwest a lot with the Amish, how communities can function with groups of people working together in harmony. So think about a ranching family that hires ranch hands and provides food and housing in return for part of the work on the ranch. Think about an Amish community where, older generations remain living on the property, continue to be as productive as they can, even as those younger generations are coming up and taking care. But then especially in the Amish community, go watch some YouTube videos about barn raising and see how a community can come together and provide for the needs of a particular family or a group. And that's what we're advocating, is how we as communities can step in and provide some of the needs of the people in our own communities. Many in Wyoming already live that way, but I think more of us will be in coming months. Another quote I want to share is from another George W. Bush. He said, "We are a blessed nation because we can grow our own food. A nation that can feed its people is a nation more secure." Let that sink in a little bit. If families are starving, the dynamics of what's important changes dramatically. We as a nation have been blessed and able to provide for our own. We need to reinforce that, not set it aside. Look at our communities. Good conservative policies always encourage food and energy independence. So I'm going to ask you today, what does your family's situation look like, and what does your community's situation look like as far as food and energy independence? And where can we strengthen those values in our communities?